Sentinel comics. The Sentinels are a fictional variety of mutant-hunting robots appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. They are typically depicted as antagonists to the X-Men. The Sentinels played a large role in the 1990s X-Men animated series and have been featured in several X-Men video games. The Sentinels are featured prominently in the 2014 film X-Men: Days of Future Past, while simulated versions made brief appearances in the 2006 film X-Men: The Last Stand and the 2016 film X-Men: Apocalypse. In 2009, the Sentinels were ranked as IGN 38th greatest comic book villain of all time. Publication history. Created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, they first appeared in the X-Men #14 November 1965. Sentinels are programmed to locate mutants and capture or kill them. Though several types of Sentinels have been introduced, the typical Sentinel is 3 stories tall, is capable of flight, projects energy blasts, and can detect mutants. Pursuing genocide as the means of dealing with a threat has made the Sentinels an analogy for racial hatred in Marvel stories. Characteristics. Sentinels are designed to hunt mutants. While many are capable of tactical thought, only a handful are self-aware. Sentinels are technologically advanced and have exhibited a wide variety of abilities. They are armed primarily with energy weapons and restraining devices, capable of flight, and can detect mutants at long range. They possess vast physical strength, and their bodies are highly resistant to damage. Some are able to alter their physical forms or reassemble and reactivate themselves after they have been destroyed. Some Sentinel variants have the ability to learn from their experiences, developing their defenses during an engagement. Several groups of Sentinels have been created and or led by a single massive Sentinel called Master Mold. Some Sentinels are also equipped with an inconspicuous logic loop in case they should go rogue to convince them that they are mutants, as demonstrated in the Tri-Sentinel. Types of Sentinels. There are different types of Sentinels that appear in the comics. Mark I and Master Mold, created by Bolivar Trask, first appeared in X-Men Vol. 1-14. Bolivar Trask sacrificed himself to destroy the Master Mold. Mark Roman II, created by Larry Trask. This model was capable of adapting to and counteracting superpowers almost instantly. First appeared in X-Men Vol. 1-57. No. 2. The robotic leader of Larry's Sentinels, later mutated with the capability of creating space warps. Composite, created by merging the remaining portions of 5 Sentinels destroyed by the X-Men and came under control of Ashley Martin. It was destroyed by her when it rebelled against her. Mark Roman III, created by Stephen Lang and Project Armageddon, secretly funded by Edward Buckman and the Council of the Chosen. First appeared in X-Men Vol. 1-98. X-Sentinels, created by Stephen Lang. They are androids who were duplicates of the original X-Men. First appeared in X-Men Vol. 1-99. Mark Roman IV, created by Sebastian Shaw. First appeared in X-Men Vol. 1-151. Mark V, created by Sebastian Shaw for U.S. government's Project Wide Awake. First appeared in New Mutants Vol. 1-2. Mark VI, created by Shaw Industries for Project Wide Awake and used by Onslaught. Also incorporated parts of Project Nimrod. Mark Roman VII, created by Shaw Industries. They were experimental and remote-controlled. Nimrod, later Bastion, a prototype Super Sentinel that arrived from the Days of Future Past timeline and was later reactivated by Reverend William Stryker. Project Nimrod, created by an offshoot of Project Wide Awake and was in the experimental stage, Project Nimrod was actually a self-awareness program that Nimrod implanted before its demise into the base's military computer cybernet. The program served as a sleeper virus that awaited the opportunity to access a Sentinel development program so it could use it to recreate Nimrod itself. Cancelled after X-Force interfered. Prime Sentinels created by Bastion and Operation Zero Tolerance. They were at first disabled humans infected with nano-sentinel technology at Prospero Clinic under the belief that they were being equipped with cybernetic nanotech implants to replace their lost limbs. Unbeknownst to many of them, they became sleeper agents for Operation Zero Tolerance, as they would, upon activation by a mutant attack or near the presence of one, transformed into armored beings with powerful weapons systems. Omega Prime Sentinels, the second generation of Prime Sentinels. Often simply called Omega Sentinels, their nanotechnology is far afield in advancement to their brethren. Omegas have an 8-step cycle of transformation they undergo before transmuting from full organic to complete machine entities, which are infection, nesting, replication, dormancy, activation, union, adaptation, and finally Omega. Karma Shapander is one of them. While Sentinels built in secret by a new master mold in Ecuador, activated by Donald Trask Roman III, and used by Cassandra Nova. New units are produced based on the currently available resources, salvaged parts, weapons, and sometimes even entire vehicles, which give this particular type of Sentinel a very diverse, ragtag appearance. Due to both this and their design flexibility, a wide variety of different shapes and forms have been observed. The Mega Sentinels used to destroy Genosha and Nano Sentinels both belong to this kind of Sentinel. The technology used in Nano Sentinels is also employed by Weapon Plus for their artificial evolution experiments and the creation of their Super Sentinels. Mark Roman 8 Sentinel Squad O** and *E, designed by Stark Enterprises. Unlike other Sentinels, the Mark Roman 8 requires a human pilot. TO Sentinels, an intended upgrade to the Squad O** and *E Sentinels conceived of by director Robert Callahan, who sought to use techno-organic substance to increase the effectiveness of his Sentinel program. Failing in his first attempt, he would get a second chance after obtaining the Warlock-infected new mutants to use as experimental fodder for further technoforming augmentation to his Sentinel Squad armor unit. Bio-Sentinels, human mutant corpse infected by a technological virus created by Kaga. They come with the innate capacity of weaponizing biotechnological apparatus such as Brood-designed missiles as a means of offense. Stark Sentinels. The Stark Sentinels debuted during the Axis storyline. Under the influence of the Red Skull, who also had erased from him any memory of their construction, Tony Stark created a model of adamantium-constructed Sentinels outfitted with pimparticle technology with databases withholding knowledge of different superheroes he acquired after the first Civil War storyline. When Red Skull became the Red Onslaught, and the Avengers arrived to Genosha to stop him, he deployed the Stark Sentinels. Mother Mold, a self-aware and capable of adaptation Master Mold variant head designed to create Master Molds, which in turn create Sentinels. Built in secrecy near the sun by a human group called Project Orchis, which is made up of various members of human organizations such as AIM, SHIELD, Hydra, Alpha Flight, and others. Once coming online, Mother Mold will lead directly to the creation of Nimrod, the ultimate nanotechnological Sentinel form. Related mutant hunting creations. Tri-Sentinel, a giant-sized, 6-armed, 3-faced combination of 3 fairly standard Sentinels created by Shaw Industries, bonded together by Loki as retribution for losing the Acts of Vengeance ploy, and defeated by Spider-Man at the peak of his cosmic Captain Universe powers. later revived by the Life Foundation, only to be destroyed again by Spider-Man and Nova. Mendelstrom later obtained another one from the bunker of the bankrupt Life Foundation, and was later approached by a mysterious benefactor who prepared to give him a master mold that specializes in creating Tri-Sentinels. Soviet Sentinels created by the Soviet Union and later purchased by Cuban government officials. Super Sentinels using nano-sentinel technology. Weapon Plus created artificially evolved superhumans at the world. 3 of the creations were chosen to form the mutant-hunting Super Sentinels, Huntsman, Phantomex, and Ultimatum, who were intended to be presented to the public as superheroes in order to make the extermination of mutant-kind look like a Saturday morning cartoon. Colcord's Sentinels, some of the boxbots created by Madison Jeffries Box to serve the Weapon X program run by Malcolm Colcord. In one variation of the Days of Future Past timeline seen in the Weapon X Days of Future Now limited series, one of the boxbots evolves into a new master mold and a new breed of Sentinels. Hardaway, a cyborg created at Camp Hayden, killed by the Mutant Liberation Front, who called himself a Bio-Sentinel. X-51 Machine Man captured by Bastion and infected with Prime Sentinel nanobots which reconfigured and reconstructed his systems, thereby giving him similar capabilities to Nimrod. Justin Seifert's Sentinel, first appearing in Sentinel-1. This is a rebuilt Sentinel, likely a Mark V or Mark VI, reprogrammed to obey Justin Seifert. Initially, Seifert controlled the Sentinel by riding on its shoulder. He now has built a cockpit into it. Seifert and his Sentinel are former members of Avengers Academy and featured in Avengers Arena. Sentinels, one of the types of sentient robots who live in the free robot city of the core. Sentinels are apparently based on the Sentinel design. They vary in size from roughly human to the large stature of traditional Sentinels. Nano-Sentinel, microscopic Sentinel type of tech created by Cassandra Nova and implemented in various ways by other users. Moving within the body and attaching themselves to the brains of humans and mutants alike, turning them into mutant-hating assault drones with no self-control, ready to take down any mutant who so much as looks at them. And unknown form of human-made Sentinels created by Simon Trask using a nanite-based Sentinel tech virus. The victims become anti-mutant activists who later, at Trask's command, are fully transformed into lifeless robotic Sentinels mindlessly following Trask's orders. Adamantium cyborgs, near fully mechanical mutant hunter-killers refitted by Weapon X, with the titular metal as an endoskeleton using Sentinel-based nanotech. Coming in numerous alphabetical categorical batches, these bionic weapons can shed their skin, revealing a murderous automaton with the abilities of various X-Men heroes and villains integrated into them. Core/Central Command, a biotech master mold variant behind the design parameters of the new Prime Sentinels. Other versions. The following are alternative versions of the Sentinels, which appear outside of regular Marvel canon. Age of Apocalypse. In the Age of Apocalypse timeline, Bolivar Trask created the Sentinels with his wife Moira. These Sentinels are equipped with several body-mounted gun turrets, and their primary directive is to protect humans rather than to hunt mutants. They are capable of cooperating with mutants in order to further this mission. Later, the Sentinels are adapted by Weapon Omega to serve a reverse purpose, and now aid in the hunting of the human race. Days of Future Past. The Days of Future Past timeline, which takes place in an alternate future, the Omega Sentinels have advanced technologically and become the de facto rulers of the United States. The most powerful among them is Nimrod. Hembeck. In the joke comic Fred Hembeck destroys the Marvel Universe, the X-Men are killed by silent, black, man-sized ninja Sentinels. Here Comes Tomorrow. In the Here Comes Tomorrow future timeline, a Sentinel named Rover is Tom Skylark's companion and protector. After more than 150 years of being active, Rover has become self-aware and possibly capable of emotion. House of M. In the House of M storyline, Magneto is victorious in a mutant-slash-human war. The Sentinels are adapted by Sebastian Shaw, now the director of SHIELD, to serve a reverse purpose, and now aid in the hunting of Sapian rebels. MC2. In the MC2 timeline, Wild Thing encounters a Prime Sentinel that has accidentally been activated by a faulty microwave. Ronin. In the alternate reality of X-Men Ronin, the story is played out in Japan. A police unit called Sentinel Force designs, builds, and pilots the robots. These are aesthetically similar to regular Sentinels, but each is subtly different from the others. Star Trek. In the comic crossover X-Men/Star Trek, Second Contact, the X-Men work with the crew of the Enterprise E to battle Kang the Conqueror. An away team composed of Captain Picard, Dina Troy, Nightcrawler, and Colossus encounter an approximation of the Days of Future Past timeline in which the Sentinels have merged with the Borg. Ultimate Marvel. The Ultimate Marvel version of Sentinels were created by Bolivar Trask, were already in action in the Ultimate X-Men story arc, hunting down and killing mutants on the streets, in a program apparently openly and publicly acknowledged by the U.S. government. Later on, there were also the new Sentinels that were 60 of SHIELD's top agents in Sentinel battle armor, and they were described to have enough hardware to take on a fleet of the old Sentinel models. A new breed of Sentinel robots created by Trask under the Fenris twins' orders was later created. After the events of the Ultimatum Wave, Nimrod Sentinels was deployed to hunt, capture, or kill mutants that refused to turn themselves in. William Stryker, Jr., using Sentinel tech, later displayed an ability to summon a fleet of Sentinels after being attacked by the Shroud. What If? In What If? Starring Cannonball's little brother Josh and his pet Sentinel, shows Josh who would, in normal continuity, later become Icarus, finding and adopting a Sentinel. In What If? Starring Secret Wars, 25 years later, the children of Marvel heroes are teleported back to Earth where, sometime in the last 25 years, a variation of Days of Future Past is shown when the group is attacked by Sentinels. In What If? Starring Juggernaut, the Kingdom of Cain, Juggernaut has killed the X-Men, and as a result, there is no one to oppose the Sentinels, so the world is ravaged by them until they are destroyed by Juggernaut. In other media. Television. A Sentinel appeared in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. In the episode of Firestar is Born, it's seen in a flashback, fighting the X-Men back when Firestar was a member. The Sentinels appeared a number of times on the X-Men animated series, voiced by David Fox. They were Season 1's main antagonists. The Sentinels first hunt down Jubilee. The Sentinel program, controlled by Bolivar Trask and Henry Peter Gyrich, was cancelled but was moved overseas to Genosha. Master Mold was constructed as the Sentinels' leader/mass production while on Genosha, but it was apparently destroyed when Storm flooded the complex. Sentinels are later seen in Bishop's future timeline where they had taken over the world and mutants were on the verge of extinction. In the Season 1 finale, the Sentinels, acting under Trask's orders, rescued Senator Robert Kelly from Magneto, but Master Mold was then giving the orders now in Trask's and Gyrich's secret base in the United States. As Master Mold plans to kidnap world leaders from around the world and replace their brains with computers so that the world would fall under its control, the X-Men managed to fight through a seemingly endless wave of Sentinels until Professor X flew the explosive-filled Blackbird into Master Mold and escaped at the last minute with Magneto's help. However, the Sentinels had sporadic appearances in Season 4. The Sentinels appeared in Spider-Man, the animated series. In the episode The Mutant Agenda, they are seen in a simulation when Spider-Man accidentally activated the Danger Room when visiting the X-Mansion. The Sentinels appear in X-Men Evolution. This version is much more powerful and heavily armed than their comic book counterparts. There was originally only a prototype created by former SHIELD agent Bolivar Trask, however, released in public by Magneto to force the X-Men to fight the prototype and reveal mutant existence to the media. The prototype alone was a dangerous challenge, even for the combined might of the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants. 3 upgraded models are later used by SHIELD against Apocalypse and prove a difficult fight for the ancient mutant. Professor X's future visions in the series finale hinted at Nimrod appearing later in the show's timeline leading a fleet of Sentinels. Sentinels appear in the Wolverine and the X-Men animated series, voiced by Jim Ward. There are several types: Sentinel Prowler, the Mark-I Sentinel, a more futuristic Sentinel, and Sentinel Hounds. The Sentinels are controlled by Master Mold. Sentinels appear in the Superhero Squad show, voiced by Tom Kenny. This version were created in an alternate reality's future to defend a superhero-less city. They are seen in the episode Days, Nights, and Weekends of Future Past. 6 Against Infinity Part 2. A Sentinel appeared in a Danger Room simulation in Marvel anime X-Men. A Sentinel appears in the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series. In the episode Game Over, a Sentinel is included in Arcade's Madland game, which Spider-Man takes control of using its firepower to cheat through one of Arcade's levels. A Sentinel appears in the Toei anime series Marvel Disc Wars: The Avengers. The Gifted television series, which is connected to the X-Men cinematic universe, features a modern-day government agency called Sentinel Services under the control of agents Jace Turner and Edward Weeks. After failing to capture the mutant underground, and Weeks is killed by Esme Frost, the determined Turner quit Sentinel Services. Turner allied with Trask Industries, the Sentinel's creator, under Dr. Roderick Campbell, is revealed to have been responsible for the Hound program, which reprograms mutants. Sentinels in this universe are small spider-like robots with a rotating red eye in the center. They are extremely durable and can withstand intense physical assaults and intense heat, capable of quickly adapting to damage to continue functioning. They capture mutants by latching onto them with immense grip. Even Thunderbird could not break free from a Sentinel until the mutant Eclipse assisted with an intense heat blast, and even then the Sentinel continued to function and hunt them. With their spider-like design, they can crawl and maneuver on walls and ceilings. Films. The Sentinels were originally to appear in X-Men 2000. In an early draft written by Andrew Kevin Walker and turned in during June 1994, Henry Gyrich and Bolivar Trask used 3 feet 2.4 tall Sentinels to attack the X-Men. Following a rewrite by Lita Calabridis, as well as various other rewrites and new scripts, the Sentinels were eventually dropped from the film. A Sentinel was seen in X-Men: The Last Stand 2006. During a training simulation for the mutants at Professor X's school, Colossus throws Wolverine at the robot, which results in its beheading. The Sentinel's body is shrouded in fog, with the only part ever made visible to the viewer is a severed head. The Sentinels are featured in X-Men: Days of Future Past 2014 as a secondary threat to mutants. In 1973, Bolivar Trask pitches the Sentinel concept to the U.S. Congress but declines, so Trask attempts pitching to foreign powers. Mystique hunts down and kills Trask in revenge for the murder of mutants that were experimented on during the Sentinel's conception to accelerate research, is captured soon after. Inspired by the fear of Trask's death, the U.S. government approves the Sentinel program, and experimentation on Mystique captured soon after Trask's murder leads to the creation of Sentinels that can adapt to and use mutant powers. The Sentinels eventually expand their targets beyond mutants to baseline humans based on the logic to have the potential to produce mutant descendants, culminating in a dystopian future where most of humanity and mutant kind have been wiped out. With Kitty Pryde's new ability to project the minds of others into their past selves, the storyline concludes with Mystique defeating Magneto and then deciding not to kill Trask on Xavier's and Beast's encouragement, resulting in the government witnessing clear evidence that not all mutants are a threat to normal humans and deciding to abandon the Sentinel program. The original prototypes from 1973 were similar in appearance to their comic counterparts, being 3 times the size of a human, possessed Gatling guns on one arm capable of firing 3,000 rounds per minute, sensors that allow to track X-gene carriers, and could fly using the vent-like systems on their chest, and were built out of a space-age polymer to be immune to Magneto's powers, to which Magneto infuses the prototypes with metal bars to control in the film's climax. In contrast, the future iterations were smaller and sleeker, with a body built out of adaptive mechanical scales, and has Mystique's adaptive powers, which can reshape their hands into stabbing blades. The Sentinels were designed by Legacy Effects with Digital Domain building digital models based on their full-scale practical model, while the future variant were all computer graphics made by Moving Picture Company. The Sentinels briefly appear at the end of X-Men Apocalypse 2016. After Apocalypse's defeat, the 1973 versions are used by the new X-Men team during a training simulation. Video games. Sentinels have appeared as major antagonists in almost every video game to feature the X-Men. The Sentinels appeared in the X-Men arcade game as the bulk of enemies. The Sentinels were featured as enemies in Spider-Man/X-Men Arcade's Revenge in Cyclops levels. The Sentinels appear as bosses in X-Men Mutant Apocalypse in Genosha with varying sizes. A robot resembling a Sentinel also appears in both the arcade and SNES versions of Captain America and the Avengers. It is not called a Sentinel, but instead is referred to simply as Robot. The Sentinels appear in X-Men 2: Clone Wars in the second level, the first level after the title screen, as it is set in a high-tech factory that produces Sentinels. Non-standard 10-tall Sentinel is a playable character in X-Men. Children of the Atom made another appearance as a playable character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2: New Age of Heroes, and was also featured as a secret partner assist in Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes. The Sentinels appear in X-Men Mutant Academy in Cyclops's intro. They hunt for mutants in the streets of New York City. One nearly kills a baby by stepping on it, but Cyclops tears off one of its legs, making the robot fall. The Sentinels are seen in X-Men Mutant Academy 2 in Cyclops/Spider-Man's level. They are shown in the background, patrolling the skies of New York City, hunting for mutants. The Sentinels appear in X-Men Next Dimension. A male Prime Sentinel and a female Prime Sentinel are both available as playable characters. The Sentinels appear in X-Men Legends as the primary antagonists, voiced by Scott MacDonald. There are several versions in this game. Sentinel Alpha uses rockets, gas stomp, and a palm beam. A Sentinel with rockets, I-beams, stomp, and a bomb. This version has shoulder pads like Sentinel Squad 1. A Sentinel controller with I-beams, stomp, an enhanced version of the palm beam, rockets, and a wave that nullifies mutant powers. This version has a blue head and its body is blue and purple. A Sentinel weapons platform in the shape of a purple spider with green blasters, which can bash and use a green wave that reverses the controls. A Sentinel advanced based on the Prime Sentinel with freeze beam, orange blasters, punch, groundquake with fist, and a rush. The Sentinels appear in X-Men Legends Roman 2, Rise of Apocalypse, assisting with the evacuation after Apocalypse devastates New York City. Bastion later turns the Sentinels on the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants. After Bastion is defeated, the Sentinels resume their evacuation duties. The Sentinels appear in X-Men, the official game, as part of William Stryker's backup plan to eliminate all mutants. Stryker would have the mutant-hunting robots track down and kill all mutants they could find. The Sentinels featured in the game appear to be similar to those from X-Men, Children of the Atom. There are two types of Sentinels. One is a smaller, aerial model, and the other is a giant walking behemoth. The Sentinels appear in X-Men Origins Wolverine. The Sentinel Mark I is one of the major bosses of the game. While infiltrating the headquarters of Project Wide Awake to find John Wraith, Wolverine encounters two full-sized Sentinels, destroying a half-finished Sentinel with a Sentinel hand weapon and defeating the other one in a prolonged confrontation. The Sentinel from X-Men, Children of the Atom, now given the model number Cota 94 in reference to when Children of the Atom was released, is an unlockable playable character in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds, and its updated version Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, with Jim Ward reprising his role from Wolverine and the X-Men. Its character ending has the Sentinel uploading master molds program on Galactice's worldship. The Sentinels appear in X-Men Destiny. The player must defeat a Sentinel before they can challenge the final boss and main antagonist Louis Reyes. The Sentinels appear in Marvel Avengers Alliance. The Sentinels are made up of the Coast Sentinels, the Kreist Sentinels, the Chronist Sentinels, the Hyperion Sentinels, the Iapetos Sentinels, the Phoebe Sentinels, the Re-Sentinels, and the Themis Sentinel. A salvaged Sentinel is an opponent for the players on the tutorial level. The Brotherhood of Mutants have also included their own versions of Sentinels called the M-Series Rho MK Roman 3, the M-Series Sigma MK Roman 3, and the M-Series MK Roman 3. In a Spec Ops mission revolving around the Hellfire Club, Crimson Dynamo was hired by the Hellfire Club to build the Sentinels that obey their every command. The Sentinels appear in Marvel Heroes. The Sentinels appear in the 2013 Deadpool video game. Destroyed parts of Sentinels, including arms, legs, heads, and a boot, are seen in the ruins of Genosha. Deadpool narrates that the Sentinels attacked Magneto's country and slaughtered the 6 million mutant residents. The Sentinels appear in LEGO Marvel Super Heroes, voiced by Stephen Stanton. The player can fight 3 different Sentinels across New York City. Beating one unlocks a mini Sentinel as playable. A Sentinel appears in Marvel Future Fight as a playable character. The Sentinels appear in Marvel Contest of Champions both as playable and non-playable. The Sentinels appear as enemies in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, the Black Order, with a Power Stone enhanced variant known as the Infinity Sentinel serving as a boss character. The Sentinels are deployed as Ultron's backup plan to steal the Infinity Stones from the Avengers by starting an assault at Xavier Institute after the X-Men dealt with the Hellfire Club off-screen. After stealing the Power Stone from the Heroes, the Infinity Sentinel fights the Heroes until being destroyed by Magneto. The Sentinels are featured as an unnamed landmark in Chapter 2, Season 4 of Fortnite Battle Royale. Toys. Several different toys of Sentinels have been made since their introduction. One is the X-Men Classics 10 Sentinel by Toybies. A build-a-figure version of the character based on the Here Comes Tomorrow storyline was made in Wave 10 of the Marvel Legends line. In 2010, Hasbro released a large Sentinel available in 2 color schemes as part of the Marvel Universe line. Along with a large, unposable statue, 2 Minimates figures have been made of the Sentinels. The first, a classic version, came with Rachel Summers in either her Phoenix or Marvel Girl guises. The second, based on Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of Two Worlds, comes with a red-haired first appearance figure of Ryu. In 2014, the LEGO Group released a set in the Marvel Superheroes line titled X-Men vs. The Sentinel, featuring the Sentinel as a buildable figure, also including the Blackbird, Magneto, Wolverine, Storm, and Cyclops. In July 2020, Hasbro announced a 26-inch Sentinel as part of their HasLab crowdfunding releases. Parodies. On the Adult Swim show Robot Chicken, the episode Sausage Fest showed a parody of the X-Men being killed by a Sentinel, and Professor X then recruiting the cast of the Police Academy films as replacements. The Sentinel eventually kicks them far as Professor X quotes "same time next week," to which the Sentinel nods yes. On the Cartoon Network show Codename Kids Next Door, the episode Operation SAFET, why shows an ambassador for children's health decided to build many giant robots to prevent children from playing harmful games. The main robot, which is a parody of Master Mold, decided to capture adults because they could harm kids and take over the world. MAD magazine has and X-Men parody ECH. Men featured a Sentinel called Sentinel with a huge posterior.